Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, services month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show.
Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for all things marketing. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Rachel Noall on the line. She's founder over at RN Marketing Collective, and she's host at the Poems for People podcast, and also a published poet and an English professor. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to chat with you.
All right, so hey, I'm excited about this amazing topic that you chose today. So turning creative passions into businesses. A lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives listening to this right now, and many of them would like to do just that. But before we get into that, I do want to go a little bit further into your business. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing over at RN Marketing Collective, please.
Awesome. At RN Marketing Collective, we serve exclusively creative entrepreneurs. We provide them with business solutions, SEO, content marketing, also podcast consultations, branding, kind of, an A to Z marketing agency specifically for those creative individuals.
That's awesome. And at the end of this, I'm going to give you an opportunity to leave a website or social or wherever you want to direct that traffic. But I do want to make sure that the right types of individuals reach out. So I know you mentioned creative, but what are the right types of businesses and or niches that you like working with in that field?
Oh, there's so many. I'm really going to start with, writers, podcasters, business owners with kind of unique products, maybe like brick and mortar in terms of whether it's, sustainability, refill shops. I work with restaurant owners. I work with real estate agents, just people who have to use their skills and knowledge, in creative ways is really a passion that I have. And then I get to take, as an organization, we take the marketing approach to that and help them grow their businesses.
Fantastic. And I think that's a great transition. So let's dive into today's topic. So turning creative passions into businesses. I'll tell you that's the dream for many. Where do you want to start this topic? It's a big one.
I want to start with I've been there. And I realized that this was an incredible problem. I moved out to Denver a few years ago. I was teaching high school students. And I realized that I anticipated that I would have time to work on, kind of my creative projects. I'm a writer, and I realized I didn't have that time. So despite my parents' best advice, I quit my teaching job after they offered to pay for a master's. So that was tough. Then I started marketing myself as a freelance writer, and then working on, the more creative side of writing. And I realized that there weren't a ton of resources for creatives out there. You kind of end up having a few choices. You feel like you're in this space where there's so much information and you don't know where to start, or you feel like you have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month to get someone to do it for you. And there's really no in between. And I feel like that's really not advantageous to entrepreneurial creative growth, right? When you're kind of put in those 2 categories. So
I love what you're doing. It makes so much sense. And you're right, by the way. Like, I completely agree. Like, there's not, that other side doesn't fit. And so I think our creatives get left out a lot of times on certain
they do.
things. And they don't get to really, whether it's their product, their idea, or other things, like a lot of good things die because they don't have that little extra thing that you provide.
Exactly. And it's such a shame too, because I really believe that it's these creative people and these creative businesses that they really change communities for the better. I think when people get to live their best creative self, that comes out in so many ways. And to know that there are so many people out there with all these passions and ideas, and then they feel like it's inaccessible because they don't have $10,000 a month to spend on marketing. Like, to me, that's a shame. So really, through the years, I've grown a freelance business. I work in marketing, and now I started this company. And my goal is really to kind of, hey, I get it. I know exactly where you've been. I understand your frustrations, and how can my company provide you with some like really tangible solutions. And not just solutions, but I want to help teach creative entrepreneurs how to do things themselves. So a lot of what we do is educational. I provide a lot of trainings, a lot of educational resources, just so, as a business owner too, you want to feel empowered and you want to learn more about the marketing of your business. And to me, that's really important.
It's awesome. And again, I think it's great what you're doing. So what are the, and I know this is going to vary, right, from person to person. Now, you've been in the business a long time, but I do know certain themes tend to arise over time. What do you think are some of those, like, just common themes that keep many of our creatives out there from creating their passion into a business, like from finally making it into something that they can sustain their life with?
Well, I think, first of all, there's a lot of risk. Whether you consider yourself a creative entrepreneur or just a business owner, there's a lot of risk when it comes to starting your own business, and especially and I get that risk. I don't have kids yet, so I didn't have to think about supporting my family as I went through that transition. But I know that a lot of business owners do experience that. They're thinking about their livelihood, and I think it's so important to know. Any business owners out there, it's so important to know that you don't have to just jump right in and feel suffocated and frustrated. There are some like really small baby steps that you can take that just, they protect the infrastructure of your business, but they also just give you a huge sense of a peace of mind. So a lot of things you can do before, jumping in head first and feeling like you're risking everything.
And so let's just say that there's some creatives right now that are listening, and they're thinking to themselves, they're like, what Rachel says makes a lot of sense, and I know I need to do some things. And just to be upfront, I'm a low-hanging fruit guy, Rachel. If I could do something today, I want to do it now. If I can't do it, I'm like, it's going to be more work. It's going to. What's some low-hanging fruit? And again, it's not one piece of advice or anything like that, but just some things that are somewhere that maybe some of our creatives out there should start thinking about or putting their attention towards to start making that change today. Like, that's that low-hanging fruit that they're like, you could probably do this and this, and to start getting you on the right path.
Oh, the first thing I always, and I can't stress this enough. People have these ideas and they're like, okay, I'm going to start this company, or I want to make money, in book sales, whatever it is. You need a website. And websites right now, as a marketing professional, I always recommend like WordPress websites, but I understand that those can, come with, some complications. But at the same time,
do it. No, I have to cut you off there. Do it. Everyone listening, I started with the Wix site. I love Wix. Let me tell you something. The brand grew. Everything was good. The cost difference wasn't much. It was just that I was lazy in the beginning. I didn't want to take an extra weekend out of my busy life, whatever. I'm doing that with parentheses, right? Air parentheses. My busy life to learn how to do it or to get somebody else to do it or something else. Like, start off with WordPress, because it's going to suck when you have to go and like switch everything because your business gets bigger, and then you're like, and then you don't get the traffic, all the other things. It's like, it's the difference between owning a home and renting it. Like, if you're on Wix, you're going to rent it, and guess what? If you rent it, you're never going to build an asset, and you're not going to get traffic. And I don't know why or how. I'm not sorry. I had to do that because you were being nice, and I'm trying to keep people because you're a little bit nicer. That you're trying to be nice, and I'm like, no, don't do it. I made that mistake for years, and then I made the change, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have all this traffic, we have all these people, our brand's blowing up. How'd that happen?
Yeah,
because I wasn't on that silly Wix site. Sorry, Wix, if you're listening. Thank you for all those good years in the beginning. I appreciate it, but I'm just saying, like, sorry, go ahead, Rachel. I had to do it.
No, it's real. WordPress optimizes for, searchability, and those are things that, websites like Wix and Squarespace, they just don't offer. But the one thing that you can do to, like, get yourself going and, it kind of lights a fire under your butt too, like, make a website for your business. It's really easy. Really, there's a low barrier in terms of, the financial commitment you have to make. If you're serious about your business, you can invest like a couple $100 in building like a basic website. Later, you can build it out. But really, you have to have a website. And I know so many people who and they've done a great job networking and a great job building social followings, but they don't have a damn website. And it's such a missed opportunity because, they do get book sales. And in my head, I'm like, if you've been building your email list, if you're capturing leads, you're able to, do interviews and stuff on your website, getting those backlinks. I mean, like you would be selling, thousands and thousands of copies of your book instead of, maybe 100 to your family and friends. That's a game changer. So for me, you got to have a website. And like Adam said, just go with WordPress.
Yeah, just do it. No, like you said, but you're just nicer. Just do it. Like don't even think twice because then it becomes an asset and all that
exactly.
And all that data, everything else. Like you want to think about, can you sell this business one day? How do you leverage?
Yeah.
How do you partner with people? Like they see you don't have a website or that you don't have we get approached quite often with people that want to do deals, that want to do this, that, and I'm like, and if you don't have a website, like how serious do you expect somebody else to take you? Like that's just the way it is. Like how serious do you?
I tell people this all the time. Like when someone Googles you, what do they see? Mm-hmm. And I can tell you when I first started working in marketing that when you Googled me, all of my college sports stats popped up when you Googled me, mm-hmm. right? I was a college athlete. So there's all these articles and as a professional, that's not what people needed to see to learn more about my skills, right? And now when you Google me, whether you Google, Rachel Noall or R.R. Noall, which is the name that I publish poetry under, you're getting my website, you're getting all my social media channels, you're getting links to interviews that I've done. Like I have, you get to control what Google shows people, and that's really empowering too. And if you want to take that step, and whether you want to be a serious author, a serious business owner, or whatever it is, like there are so many things that you can do to really take control of that narrative.
That's awesome. So let's see. I do want to spend a minute or two at the end of this talking a little bit about your podcast because I love promoting and growing the podcast community. I'm excited about this. So first off, the amount of from an English professor, the amount of alliteration, of course, poems for people podcast. I'm like, come on, of course you would. You would, Rachel. I know we just met, but I'm just going to throw that out there. You would.
I would, absolutely.
You did. I'm sorry, you did. So tell us a little bit more about your podcast and what people can expect, because I definitely want my audience to go check it out.
Cool, awesome. So it's definitely a creative podcast. People find that it's really calming, which I like. But I interview people, kind of all walks of life, all industries, all places. And I sit down with them, and I always try to do interviews in person. It's a really key part of it. But I just kind of interview them about their lives, like substantial things that have happened, and then right in front of them on demand, I write them a poem on my 1962 Smith & Corona typewriter.
No.
Yeah.
Stop.
It takes me about a minute and a half to write the poem. And the typewriter sounds. Yeah, the typewriter sounds are pretty magical. And then the guest reads the poem that I wrote for them at the end of each episode.
Shut up.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's definitely a human storytelling podcast. Again, as a poet, I get to, interpret these stories and share them with people. And it's really cool to see. I think it's really validating. We live in a world where our stories aren't always listened to. So I think it's very validating for guests on the show to kind of hear their story encapsulated in a piece of art. And I can't tell you how many people, they send me pictures. They got it on their fridge or they frame it, put it in their room, or it's a pretty magical thing. And I'm a typewriter poet, so I do events and stuff. I write poetry for people all the time. So I thought it would be cool to turn into a podcast.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That is really
it's really
cool.
Fun.
So Rachel, I could talk to you about this all day long, and now I have FOMO. I'm like, I don't got a poem, but we're gonna end there. If somebody is listening to this, Rachel, and they want more information about RN Marketing Collective or about anything else connecting with your work, I mean, what's the best way for them to do that?
If you want to learn more about RN Marketing Collective, definitely go to www.rnmarketingcollective.com. You can definitely find a lot of resources there. I'm really happy with our website. I think it really displays kind of exactly what we do and who we are. So if you can consider yourself a creative entrepreneur or you just have questions about what that is and what that means, definitely head to that website. Also, if you're interested in poetry or anything like that, you can follow me on Instagram. I write a poem every day, and you can find me the username @RRNOALL and read some poems.
Fantastic. What if you would have been like, so we're working on the website, and after we talked about websites the whole interview, I'm just like, but on a serious note, maybe the listeners didn't have their pen out or they were fumbling around. What's the website one more time for them, please?
It is www.rnmarketingcollective.com.
Fantastic.
And there's a contact form. If you want to get a hold of me, feel free to ask me any questions. I'm happy to talk to anyone who's trying to start their business.
Awesome. Well, Rachel, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and turning creative passions into businesses. So thank you for that. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Rachel, thanks again for coming on the show.
Okay. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it.